first off, Sean, just any new takeaways from watching the film back on Saturday? We kind of talked about difficulties playing against 10 men, but anything else that you saw?
I thought we were really good defensively in terms of playing more of a zonal back four and a zonal midfield to allow them possession in areas what didn't hurt us, and unfortunately we conceded. But even though we conceded one, we didn't concede again, so it kept us in the game. And I thought, looking back, our set play sort of execution was good, and it got us a couple of chances. Ideally, one of them goes in for it to be really good, but I thought defensively we did okay, and I thought we kept ourselves in the game with a chance to get something out of it right to the very end. And break of a ball, maybe a referee decision differently, we might have come away with something. But it leaves us in a position now where we need to start picking up more points, and that starts this weekend.
Kind of watching back, I thought Hunter had a really good game, and not to compare it to last season, but some of his best saves were last season, and I think some of the ones from Saturday were kind of up there. So how would you kind of rate his progression again this year so far? I
think he's grown into the season pretty well, and what I would say with that is Hunter's on loan from an MLS team, and for him to play in MLS, he needs to play consistently at this level. Last season he came to the group as probably the second choice and got in, and then got better each week as he went along. This season he came in, to fight it out, but with an eye on Portland Timbers wanting him to get a more consistent run in the team, because they've helped us out with letting us have him. And I think the consistency level of him this season has not been, the standard needed, but I think he's getting consistent performances now over the last sort of 2 months. One big driver in that is he's got an excellent person behind him in Reece Charles Cook is probably a number one goalkeeper in this division, and he comes in and works every day and works well with Hunter along with Andy Swift, the goalkeeper coach, and I think it's given him the sense of confidence and belief, because the two of the people that are working with him are encouraging him and telling him, things that he needs to improve on and be the best that he can be. So credit to Hunter for, maintaining that consistency, and we'll need that towards the end of the season. But I also give credit to Reece and Andy.
Bruno's been a relative mainstay in your team this year. So without him at the weekend, how do you adjust?
We have to adjust. We have to, somebody else gets the opportunity to play, and somebody else gets the chance to play, and Bruno might not play. That's the situation. If we go on a run and he's out the team, he's made that silly decision at the weekend to do what he did, put himself at risk of a referee decision. The referee's made it and called it pretty quickly, so there's nothing we can do about that, and Bruno's put himself out the team.
In terms of the response in general in training this week, how's it been?
Yeah, good. We have been pretty consistent all year. It's very, we have a very honest and open dialect between ourselves, the staff and the players, and we know when we've not done well enough, we know when we've done well enough, and we know what standards we want to achieve, and we know we're going to have to be good in this last third of the season. We're just over a third left, so some teams have only got 10 games, we've got 12. That's going to be a little bit packed for us. We've got a quarter-final of the Cup coming up next week, so we've got big games ahead of us, but we need to start picking up the points, and obviously next week's a huge week for us. Saturday at Loudoun, midweek in the quarter-final, and then a home game against Miami. So we need to look at this real week and really focus on trying to pick up the right results.
When a casual spectator looks at Loudoun, I kind of think of the start they had to the season, and they've got a sort of a player of the season candidate. When you look at them a bit deeper, what do you see?
A really good team. They fell away at the end of last season. It was around about the time that we went there and won. They started falling away a little bit, and that might have been because they had a lack of experience in them positions in terms of the players. Not so much the coach, because the coach has been there a long time. But with them not making the playoffs, it's a difficult one because everybody feels that pressure. When you're a consistent playoff team, and I've said this all along since I've come here, them last games at the end become not as difficult or not as pressurised because you know what it takes to get into the playoffs. We've had that similar situation, I believe, because I think we've only made the playoffs 2 years in a row. We've never made it 3 years in a row. So it becomes a little bit more pressurised, and I think they fell away last season. Then they've improved and they've got some experience in. You know, Pedro Santos comes in, who's been a DP in the MLS, so he's a really good player. He'll understand, you know, the level that's needed, and he'll be able to transmit that to the rest of the squad for the running. And like I said, they've got the best young player in the league, so they've got a good squad. They've built a good squad, and I expect a really tough game.
You talked about the Cup game on next Wednesday. We've talked about kind of balancing when you've got midweek games, but with the significance of that one, how much of an eye can you put towards that before the Loudoun game?
Well, no, we're going to have to focus on Loudoun and then take the Cup game in after that. We'll focus on each game as it comes. You know, the importance of the games at the back end of the season is all about training becomes recovery, or it becomes video work or tactical work, you know, in the film room. So what we'll do is we'll play the game, we'll check on the fitness of everybody, and if we need to make a couple of changes based on, you know, what we feel the right tactics are against Greenville, then we'll do it then.